Hello, Buttercup. Welcome back to my channel. Today's book tag is the Bookish A through Z Hot or Not tag. And I was tagged by Bad as Rad too. Of course I was. Nowadays, it's usually just her tagging me, and I appreciate it. And this is actually pretty in-depth, but not really, because you're doing hot or not. But there's 26 questions because it starts from A and goes all the way to Z. And I feel like I just also had to do it because I did an alliteration poem chat book, alphabeted poetry. So this is in my heart, alliteration, the alphabet, it's there. We need to do it. Also, if there's weird cuts more than usual, I have worked 6 days in a row. I have tea with honey. Hopefully my voice does not crack, but if it does, well, that's why I have tea. And also Stitch. Yeah, I'm drinking tea without caffeine instead of coffee because the hotness lasts longer, and I need something to fix this throat because I've done a lot of talking, especially at my retail job. That's basically all I do, and ring people up and then stock products. So don't mind the tea or where it's randomly placed. Okay, first one, audiobooks. Not for the most part. However, I am getting into older books on audio, like they're out of, well, they're either out of print or they're past, like way past the copyright program, whatever, where you can read these books out loud or the short stories. And so I've gotten through a few of them on this one particular channel on YouTube that I'm blanking on, but I've listened to actually only horror novels or short stories, which is interesting. I haven't done anything else. I don't know if that's a trend that's going to continue or not, but here we are. Number 2, I'm gonna mess up this word, so bear with me. Bildungsroman. It looks German. I can barely speak English. Okay, the translation of that word. I'm trying to think and it's not working. It's dealing with a person's formative years or spiritual education. I'm gonna go with not. I've read some in the past. That doesn't mean that I'm a huge fan. And I'm not usually, yeah, I'm not really always interested in other people's growth in book form. I'd rather just like watch an interview or maybe even like talk to people in like an in-depth conversation, but that's just me. So that's gonna be not. Number 3, children's books. Not for the most part, with some exceptions. Obviously, when I was a child, I loved them, right? I have gotten to receive or find free children's classics from the little library down the road, and I'm going to try and get into, for example, Charlotte's Web. Read it on my own. It was read to me. I don't remember it, so I'm gonna read it on my own. Like, kind of those types of children's books that are classics that you should totally read, even as an adult. Definitely read as a kid, read as an adult if you haven't, and I don't know how that's gonna go, so I'm gonna go with not, but we are open to possibilities. Number 4, digital. I don't read ebooks or anything really on a screen. I tried to read an H.P. Lovecraft short story, and I got to page 2 and I said I cannot. So I'm either having to just give up and not read it, or buy the short story, which I don't think it's available, or, and that was one of the audiobooks, I found a reading of it on YouTube, and that reading was an hour and a half. Yeah. My eyes, my brain, whatever, just doesn't like digital. Number 5, experimental. I can't think of an experimental book that I loved. Like, is that a subgenre? Is that a genre? Is that literary fiction? I don't know. Therefore, if I don't know what it is, I'm just gonna say no. Because I don't know. Number 6, fantasy. That's a hot yes. We love a good fantasy. I would hope so, because I write urban fantasy, and I've also written historical fantasy. But, you know, who knows? Some people hate lit RPG. That's just a random thing. Like, they hate lit RPG, but they still write it, or the same as romance, or, you know, whatever. And I'm like, I don't have that brain capacity. If I don't like something, I don't like something, so I'm not gonna read it or write it, right? Number 7, graphic novels. Hot. I love a graphic novel. So into it. Number 8, horror. Hot. I love a good horror. I just need all of the scary, spooky, creepy, disturbing things. It really is hard to freak me out, just because of everything I've personally seen and been through, that like a ink on a page or pages of paper, it does not usually affect me. There's only 2 books that I've never ever been able to finish, and they have a same concept, which I'm not doing anything with. No thank you. But 2 books out of, how many books have I read? Like almost 2,000. I'm gonna say that's good, right? And actually those 2 books don't count as horror, they count as literary fiction. Anyway, 9, inspirational. Not for the most part, though. Well, what do you count as inspirational, I guess? Yeah, not. But then there are some books that maybe, like, they're memoirs or biographies, and then the subgenre connected to that is inspirational, because that person has overcome a lot. I just don't really read a lot of inspirational. I'm just gonna stay with not. Journalism, number 10, not. I'm not doing that today. Number 11, Kitsch. I should have read some of these words in practice, but I did not, because I'm somewhat present, not fully present. Not, for the most part, I know what that word means, okay? And I'm saying not. It's just, not for me. Number 12, library. That is a hot yes. That's a steaming yes. You know, I am at about 150 books so far for 2023 for the Goodreads reading challenge. I can already tell I have this is November. We have a whole month and a half. Like, I'm going past 150 books, right? A lot of that is the library or the little library down the road. So, yes, library. Fantastic. And if I don't like something, then I just return it. It's not a big deal. Number 13, mystery. That's a hot yes. I'm also writing urban fantasy mystery. I would hope that I like mystery, but that's going back on the fantasy little rant, so I'm not going to. Number 14, nonfiction. For the most part, hot. I just sometimes have trouble. I get all these nonfiction books, I hoard them like a dragon, and I don't read them, and then nonfiction November comes around and I have like 10 books to read. I'm like, why did I do that to myself? That is a me problem, not the nonfiction problem. That's why it's a hot still. Number 15, Omnibus. Not because I've yet to read an Omnibus set or own it, unless you count the Lord of the Rings box set. Does that count? I don't know. I'm just gonna move on. Number 16, poetry. Hot, but not hot with Instagram poetry. I'm not interested in Instagram poetry, and that's why all 4 of my chat books don't go anywhere because it's not Instagram poetry. It has grammar and punctuation. And the covers are not minimalist. They are blooming flowers, very gorgeous. I just do not like the Instagram poetry itself and what the brand and marketing is for Instagram poetry. No, thank you. I hope, really hope, that that goes away eventually. However, people still keep buying and therefore funding Instagram poetry as they whine about it, so I don't know when that trend is going away. It's been like 7 years, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe in 10 years the trend will go away and we'll all be better for it. Number 17, quests. When the protagonist goes on a quest, either physically or spiritually, and I'm going to say hot. We do love a good quest. 18, romance. And now I don't know if this is meaning romance books or romance in general. If we're talking romance books, not for the most part. Though I do love romance as a subplot. We love to see romance as a subplot. The romance books, not that interested. Though I do like some, but I'm not a romance reader. You get what I'm saying? Number 19, science fiction, not. It's not interesting. Not at all. Number 20, translation, not for the most part, though of course, like, the Odyssey was translated and love the Odyssey. Like, there are some certain translated works that I love, but I'm not going necessarily out of my way to only read or mostly read or, you know, what have you, whatnot, regarding translated works. Though I do want to get into Japanese horror. I'm really interested in that, so stay tuned. 21. Oh, with the German again. Okay. Übermensch. That means like a person, usually a man, that can do everything, like superpowers, whatever. Not because that's a Gary Sue. I'm not interested in Gary Sue's. 22, Victorian literature from 1837 to 1901, and that's a not. I can't do older books. It's not, I don't have the patience. Number 23, Western, not. I just don't care about Western books or movies. I don't think they're interesting. 24, X-rated. I would go with hot, especially with horror. Not with romance, horror. Yeah. Because I do love a good splatterpunk novel lately. Number 25, young adult. Not hot right now, because I'm in my 30s. But when I was actually a young adult, yes, I absolutely loved it. So that one is just, you grow out of things, because I'm not a teenager anymore. It's been a very hot minute since I've been a teenager, but I know in the past I have read, consumed many young adult novels. There's quite a few on these bookshelves here that were amazing, pivotal in my teen years, and some of them life-changing, and I appreciate that. So, not a diss, just I'm too old for young adult. And then number 26, Zeitgeist, spirit or mood of the times, not usually, with some exceptions, of course, like, for example, getting into cozy fantasy. Ooh, I love a good cozy fantasy. Yes. I don't usually read what's new releases or really popular nowadays, because I keep getting burned and I felt like I was wasting my money. Yeah. So I just do my own thing, and if I happen to like a new release or like a new niche genre or something like that, I'll naturally go to it, not me following the crowd 9 times out of 10. I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but 9 times out of 10. It took me a while to read Legends and Lattes, but adorable. I'm into it now. I want some cozy fantasy. I'm excited to read the prequel to that book, and I want more. So write more, please. Thank you. Yeah, that's just the first example that popped into my head. I think the other hyped up book that was like kind of zeitgeisty, because Oprah was like, oh my god, this is a fantastic book, and you know, stuff happens after Oprah says you have a fantastic book, was Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. But that book, freaking amazing. Amazing. So there are, of course, exceptions, and I love to see it. Thank you so much for watching my book tag. If you want to do this tag, do it. All the people that I know have already been tagged, so I'm not going to tag anyone, because that would be, I don't know, weird. Thank you again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.